Welcome to the No Name Brand Podcast. My name is Sashka Hanarappel, actress, singer, dancer, turned brand marketing, sales, and advertising strategist who brands your soul. And each week I bring you an inspiring person or message to help you discover your undergod, turn up your leadership notches, challenge the status quo, because you're fast and furious with a powerful message to share with the world. Thank you for taking time out with me today, and without further ado, let's get our creative and wisdom juices flowing. Buongiorno, lovely visionaries, and welcome back to the No Name Brand Podcast. I'm so blessed to have you all back on board, and thank you for taking the time to listen each week as I interview incredible movers and shakers around the world on how they're taking action to be the change that they want to see in the world. And today's guest does just that. Now, there's no hiding that our next guest has a presence, not only amongst her clients, some even opening up to her over the phone after having dialed the wrong number, but in the spiritual world too. Our next guest is a simple and happy woman. Even as a kid, she had simple dreams, like having straight hair in a bob that would shimmer in the sun. She dreams of fields of flowers, wearing Italian-style brown breeches, having a dog, and just being. She wants to empower people to be their best versions of themselves, and not just super successful, but super happy. Because if you aren't happy, you can't be successful. She aims to make it the most normal thing in the world that we access all 6 senses to empower future generations. Now, early on, our guest realized that at times her perception of the world was different, and it took many years to accept and make peace with her natural intuition and talents. Today, she combines her extensive corporate and economic experience with her personal wisdom, extensive philosophical study, love the woman already, and natural insights to help overwhelmed, stressed, uncertain women rediscover their passions and tap into their natural energy to create the work and life they dream of. Now, if that doesn't attract you into her world, then I don't know. But I sure as heck am super excited to delve into her world and meet her. So let's put our energies together in welcoming the one, the only, Carollyne Corner. Hello, Carollyne.
Wow, thank you so much. What an introduction. Wow, this is quite overwhelming.
No, it should be a compliment. Welcome. How are you? Where are you in the world today?
I'm in Switzerland. There I've
Ooh.
been born and raised. I've had a little sort of encounter with England. I'm a big England fan. I lived in London for 4 years in my 20s, early 20s, and I try to go back quite often. But yeah, that's where I am, in the Swiss mountains, somewhere hidden away.
Not too far away from the Austrian Alps.
That's right.
Right, so we're going to delve in. So I am going to start off with a quote by Albert Einstein, and I'd love your take on it, or interpretation of it, or viewpoint, or opinion. Anyway.
I love him.
Well, so do I. Those that don't, well, oh, whatever. Different strokes for different folks.
That's right.
So everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy. This is physics. Shoot. Go, Carollyne. Tell me. What's happening in this corner? Of the globe.
Yeah, well, I admire Einstein, and he's absolutely right about that. Well, what I've experienced all my life, and what I try to teach my clients and help them with, is to really feel and see that the reality is within our reach, and that we create what we think, what we feel, what we hear, what we create. Sadly, sometimes old patterns, old family patterns, things that we are used to. It depends where in the world you grew up. So in society, they shaped you. It will be different if you grew up in Asia, in the US, or in Europe, in Austria or Switzerland. So all of that takes a toll on us. It takes a toll, like it can be very positive as well. But it's just, we are influenced around with who we are with, the thoughts we had as presented to us as children, the way we were educated. And that's why it's so important for the future that we really realize when we raise our children, to what schools we bring them, how they've been influenced. Because everything that they go through and live through energetically influences them. So it's absolutely right that whatever you think about energies and whatever you know about it, if you can imagine, it's another thing he said, if you can imagine it, it is real. So you can imagine your life if you've matched the frequency. That's the trouble about it. That's what people find difficult. We can all imagine things, great things to happen to us, but then not being in a position where you can't really take that on what you really wish. That's the difficulty. So if you match your frequency, your energy, if you feel no resistance towards that goal, that dream that you have, it just floats into your life. And I have experienced that all over again, like 1,000 times in my own life. And of course, I struggle sometimes too. I'm human. So even though if I know things, that doesn't mean that it doesn't happen to me. So I did have a matching frequency with energies about my health. I had an accident. So after a few years of having repeated operations, it was very difficult for me to imagine myself and feel myself healthy, able to walk, able to have a normal living life, because my experience was different. I was in pain, a few operations after the other. I was unable to walk properly because that was my reality. Now, matching that with something different, it can be a challenge. But once I really wanted to, I experienced now this not being able to walk and being in pain and all of that. Now, I really want to have a normal life again. And once this was installed in my heart and my head, it was freaking scary how quickly that was turned into the positive. After 4 years not able to, I needed a few physiotherapy sessions. I always had physiotherapy all the way through those 4 years, but it was so quickly that once it was in my head and my heart, and I knew this is my new reality. I'm just healthy, that's it. I think it happened from being with crutches for 4 years, with being able to walk quite normally within maybe 4 or 5 weeks time. So really, really quick. It's all in our head and in our heart.
That's so true. That's so true. So it took you 3 years to go from your injury. Were you already working in the space that you are now, in the business that you are now? Or was this afterwards? Or was there revelation within this? Or was this the journey or the turning pivotal point?
Well, it was more or less the universe showed me that I'm not able to walk the path anymore that I was in.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, I was struck down. Even though I was never disconnected or anything all my life, I was hearing, seeing, feeling. I, of course, was perfectly well trained in ignoring it. And, it totally scared me what they want to do. So it was just more or less, it happened when I went on a very beautiful walk with my husband and my sister-in-law. Actually, next Monday, it's 4 years ago.
Wow.
And I knew already that I'm being called to do different things. I've been called to work more with my intuition, show the people that energy matters and how to use that. I've been taking all those lessons in many, many years before and integrated it into business, into my business life. So I've been making decisions, financial decisions for companies, with also including my intuition, knowledge in the intuition going hand in hand in my life for a very long time already. But I wasn't speaking out that much about it. I mean,
like the mentalist. Were you something like the mentalist, but not working on the mental thing, but more on the financial level?
Oh, I don't even know him. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, the mentalist.
Is it a theory or something?
Yeah, no, I don't watch it that often. But yeah, you just work on mentally kind of reading your mind type of thing. So you were feeling into the economics and the financial world, but not reacting to it in your free state of being, but rather in the framework.
I was using it. The way I was working for an environment-friendly company, an engineering company. They started with 6 people, and we ended up, when I left them, they were 40 people. They made multi-million turnover. And I was there for the finances, for the financial part of the business, but also for human resource. And I was just there for the people and for the money. To say it easily.
I love that. Just rolls up. I was there for the people and the money.
Yeah. That's it.
Bam, bam, bam.
So yeah, that's what I was doing. And I integrated that fully. All my knowledge that I had about energies, everything that I included in my life already, I integrated that into my work. And I know that my bosses probably knew, or they knew, and they didn't really question that much because they saw it's working. So they weren't really against it. But it was more that I worked for them and I really supported them. I supported many businesses and I helped them develop. And that's what really fulfilled me. And I always liked to help others, help them thrive, help them be their best. So that came naturally to me. But then I suddenly felt that for first thing, I needed to work with women because I always worked in men environment and I really loved it. So I've had the feeling I wanted to empower women. Then I had the feeling that I really want to go out there and say and tell about how I work and how successful I am with this and teach that to other people. Open them up to their intuition, open them up to be more creative in their business and be open and creative with who you engage in your business, why you do it, ask conscious questions, building a meaningful business and life. That's important too. So that's what I felt that I had to, but didn't really want to do because I was afraid. I was afraid and I was comfortable in what I was doing and I liked it. So there was not much point in changing that. But then there was this nagging feeling that I knew this is not it. It's just not fulfilling for your soul. It's nice. It's nothing bad about it. But you need to do different. You need to bring that out. Yes, I ignored it for a long time. I even heard it when I was walking with my husband. And he actually, funny enough, he asked me after a while because I fell down already 3 weeks earlier, just before I went to London. And he said, are you sure you still be able to walk? This is, a bit tricky. We can go ahead. But I said, yeah, it's fine. And I hear, no, you're anyway not on the right path. So I already heard it and I ignored it. And then I stuck my feet into a rock, both of my feet actually. And I chipped over and fell over and they got stuck. And both of them, just bad injuries. So of course, when I was like that, I thought, oh my God, that was so painful. I couldn't think for a while. But when I started to think, I was like, oh, the hell, I'm on the wrong path and they show me so clearly. That was the second I realized I really, really have to just embrace what I do and not hide anymore.
What I've noticed is that, I don't know if it's recently or maybe it's more that my eyes are open to it, is that more business strategists, business coaches, creative strategists and coaches that can see, hear angels or on the spiritual realm, they tend to have first a success, or I don't want to say success, acknowledgement within their business. So there's a quick interest in their business because they don't trust themselves. So they're going, well, maybe you can psychically see something that I'm not seeing. Well, when your clients come to you or when clients approach you, are they thinking, oh, Carollyne's going to psychically see something for me? Or are you just kind of like, no, listen, there's still an element of human things here. It's not just all rosies and crystals and yes, but at the same time, you got to put in the work, gal.
Definitely. And I must say, till this day, nobody ever approached me who was just, No, actually, there are really strong, independent, funny, intellectual women that know that there is something out there more to them. More to what they know. They got this feeling that they maybe had an intuition working for them. They maybe saw or heard something that they felt, wow, where does that come from? Often entrepreneurs, especially entrepreneurs, are very creative. And that's all there is to creativity. You open up to your intentions, your inspiration. And with the inspiration comes the opening up about the intuitive side of yourself. So those women often come from very solid backgrounds. And they just had those feelings that they want to know more about it. That's one thing. I mean, they approach me for two things. The one thing is, mostly, of course, you come because they feel that again and again, they come to certain points in their life and in their business, which is always connected, where they can't go any further. They can't really reach to the top where they want to reach, or they just come up with difficulties either in the team, or maybe their finances are floating, but it's just something else that's not working out in their business. It's not just the financial side that's important, it's everything. Do they feel fulfilled? Do they really think this is still what they like to do? They maybe have difficulties with clients who are pushing their boundaries constantly. So of course, then I come in and look at why is this? And from looking at the reality of them, of their lives, of their businesses, so like, let's say pushy boundaries, I can go in and look for why does this happen to you again and again? Where does this come from? We're talking here the pattern, past life experiences, blocks that they credit themselves, why they denied whatever while they were growing up with their environment. It's all different kind of reasons why those things happen to us. And I think they're just open to decide that people can see more or behind something. And sometimes they want to have it explained, of course. Sometimes they come because they themselves want to grow their awareness, grow their consciousness, grow, and are interested in the spiritual world.
I love that. Yeah, that is so true. We do need, often in the entrepreneurial world, or just in life as well, we need a bit of explanation because we've so much dogma and so much frameworks where it's just like, learn this like a parrot and that's just the way it is. And you never really question the status quo or challenge it. So you just take it at face front, and then there'll be moments. So that's great. So when they come with a question, it gets explained so they can broaden or expand within themselves and their intuition and their purpose to go further. How does one build a fulfilling life that one deserves? That's quite strong. Like, obviously, we all deserve a fulfilled life. But what does that fulfillment mean? How do you get to a place of, oh God, I actually deserve this. Like, this is really for me. How do you work with that?
Well, the first thing I think that we have to realize that, yes, we all deserve a fulfilling life. But exactly that's the first hookup sometimes, because there is self-love or not self-love in a way. So often, very often, especially with women, I have to say, we have to start there. Accepting who you are and what you are and where you are in this life right now, and go from there. Of course, fulfilling life means individually something very different to all of us. We are characteristically different. We grew up differently. We have abilities, we have dreams. This all differs. So there is no shoe fits all, of course. There is very individually finding out, what does it mean to me? What does make me happy and smile when I go stand up in the morning? What do I look forward to? What is it that makes me feel fulfilled? Is it that lights me up? What is that I really love with my heart? It can be very different from what I think or what my family or my father and mother thought that I would be doing well or what should fulfill me. And often that's a big case because parents, of course, with all their love, want to have their children happy. But what they often forget is what happiness means to them is something very different to what means to their children. All lots of different influences. You can read what should make you happy. Society tells you what makes you happy. You go and open a magazine and think, oh, does that make me happy? So there are so many different ways, but in the end, it's a process I go through with my clients. But all I want is them to be independently able to fill their lives with happy things or with meaningful, nice things. So I teach them how to access that. I teach them how to move that forward. But in the end, of course, they have to do it themselves. It's a working process. And what I really want is them to be really independent. So I remember a client who said to me, well, if I know all that now, I won't need you anymore. I said, yeah, that's great. That's great. That's what I want. You don't need me. You are all you are.
Wow.
That's absolutely perfect. You can call me just to have a chat, but it doesn't mean we can still have contact. But that's what I want. I don't want you to be depending on me or me telling you the fortune or something. It's about them being able to access their abilities, to access their feeling system, to tune into their intuition and really master that fulfilling life that they deserve.
I love that. I love that. I don't know if you've heard it. I've got it behind me here. It's from, I never know if I say his surname properly, Mo Gaudat, and it's the Soul for Happiness. That's what it's called.
I have to write that. You have to send me the link.
Yes, I'll give it.
Yeah, I don't know it.
He's wonderful. And in a nutshell, he says that happiness all has to do with expectations. The more you expect, the less happy you'll be. The less you expect, the more happy you'll be. And I actually put it into practice a lot. because I realized I was doing it subconsciously. I was expecting a lot without actually saying it, and noticed when something like reaching a goal, like I'm not going to eat chocolates this week. And it's like, I'm going to be so happy when I don't eat chocolates this week. Or something said it.
For a Swiss person, impossible. You need to have chocolate in your life. What funny thought.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. But the expectation. So my happiness was kind of crushed just by that expectation. And I just thought, oh, that's pretty interesting. That's what we actually aspire to, is being happy. Like just the knowing and the being and being happy. Which brings me to my next question for you, is like, what lights your soul and spirit?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, there are a few things. One of them, and I really experience that now when I work, and that's not the cliche, that's really what really inspires me. It just makes me so happy when I come to, like, I work for my clients about 5 to 6 hours or something before we meet. So I do all this work and go digging and soul searching and whatsoever, go back to their lifetimes and zoom around and do all my stuff that I'll do. And then I come to a point where I do sort of what you would probably call a healing. I just go through the energies and look at them and balance them and see them. And there's so much love floating backwards to me, to see how much will be accomplished for that person, how much help that will bring, how much freedom and happiness. And it's sort of an anticipation to tell them all about what I found out. And then the knowledge that there is so much peace in that space, is so much peace. And that's one of the things that really fulfills me. And that really lights my heart. And I'm getting this very warm sort of feeling when this is happening. And that's just like, this is really special. But then are just easy things like a cup of tea, an English cup of tea with some milk. That really makes me happy. That always cheers me up. Some Swiss chocolate, of course. And then I would say walking through or being in nature, and definitely, even though I'm living close to the Alps and I'm often in the Alps, it's not the alpine surrounding that really makes me feel the greatest. As I said before, I love England, and walking through the English landscape, that really feels like home for my soul. So whenever I see a picture or a movie or just go back in my mind to a place in the English countryside with trees and the lawn, and that really makes me happy. It's my meditation place. I always think to go to a place that looks like an English country field in my meditations.
I love England as well. England's my second home. This is my first home. South Africa is my third home now, where my roots are from. But Scotland is actually my go-to. Weird. Must be previous lives. Who knows?
Funny that you say that, but because on its way is a client of mine to Scotland who she really looks forward sort of shift up there. Yeah, that's really exciting. I love Scotland too. I've been there very young on, I think as a teenager the first time, and I really like Scotland too. I haven't been to Ireland. My sister absolutely adores Ireland. I think I have to do that. But yeah, England, for everybody who is spiritually open, it's just flowing much easier. The energy is different than here in Switzerland. And you living in Austria in the Alps too, surrounded by Alps anyway, sometimes it can be more tense energetically. Of course, we can always bring ourselves to that sort of happy, energetic feeling that we want to be aligned to. But it's much easier, definitely, in places like that. And we all know those places that are more inspirational. So I think lots of people who really are open to intuition will be liking it in England, because it's just the energy is just vibrating differently and much faster.
That's true. That's true. How can we embrace change in our spiritual and entrepreneurial lives? Not that there's a formula, but rather, where do some start to implement change into our lives when change has become the norm without falling into a place of overwhelm?
Good question. And I would love to go back to expectations that you just mentioned in the book. Change is difficult if we have a picture in mind or a way how we want to develop our business. And change is good and great for some people, and change is difficult for some who really, we're all different. And some of us really thrive when everything is changing quickly and go with the energy and go with the flow. And for others, this is really overwhelming. So expectations, again, it's good to set yourself as less expectations as you can and take every day as you can, as it shows up. As much as you are in your inner peaceful world, so as much as you are aligned with yourself, the less noise will make you feel jeopardized, different, kicking in. Yeah, that's just being in yourself and being at peace, being in the present. That brings you so much grounding and so much space to then react to change. If you're detached from yourself and you're hypering around and then things are thrown at you, it's going to be very difficult to act from a peaceful place, from a centered place. Yeah. So I think bringing down your expectations, trying to do that, and just be open every day to whatever life throws at you and act from, and of course you reach that by having a little meditation every day. I do meditate every day in the morning. And that's just my anchor. I anchor myself within this peaceful place. And it can be 5 minutes. It's not like you have to sit around for 2 hours. All the time. It's just like, just center yourself and sit 5 minutes and just be and listen. You can do things that fills your heart. Think about nice things or just prepare yourself for the day ahead.
Yeah.
And I think that's the healthiest play to act from in all our different kind of situations that we can get in. It's personal or business-wise. Of course, you have to find yourself first. That's stable. The internet isn't stable. Did you see that?
So we're coming to the end of the podcast. I always say, like every single time, every single podcast, I'm sure everyone's like so tired of hearing me saying this, but it goes so fast. Like a half an hour is just like, poof, gone. Yeah. Time and space really doesn't exist. So I ask all my guests 2 questions at the end and love to hear your viewpoint on it. So how would you like to change or challenge the world doing what you do?
I think using all our senses, that this is the normality, especially the 6th sense, just integrating that into life and business, installing that in our children, in our society, that this is the way to live. And I truly believe this is the way to live in the future. Just really embrace all of our senses. That's why we have them.
Yeah. I love that. I've gotten more in tune with my senses as well now, it's really, really empowering. It really changes so many things. Like a veil just goes blip. You're like, holy moly, I didn't know that was there.
It's a whole different life.
Yeah.
And it's so easy for everybody to approach. That's the main and important thing. It's not just a few who are more intuitive than others. Yeah. It's just allowed. Everybody has the same gifts. It's just some of them allowed it to happen, or some of them are more afraid or shut it away whatsoever. It's for everyone. This is possible for everyone, and it should be.
So cool. Yeah. Thank God it's for everybody and it's not exclusive. But wonderful. And it's for free.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So I'd love for you to fill in the blanks on 3 of my values. I'd love to hear your viewpoint. So creativity for you is?
The power when inspiration and intuition come and emerge. Yeah.
Passion for you is?
An instrument to reach your goals and create your dreams.
Oh, wow. That's a good one. Wisdom for you is?
Wisdom for me would be a knowledge that comes deep down from your heart, something that is detached from personal views, just something that you know deep down in your heart. That's for me wisdom.
I love that. Thank you so much, Caroline, for being with us here today. It was wonderful. Absolutely wonderful having you. We'll definitely have you on again, because I'd love to know more, because we haven't had so much time to really go into depth about the whole encompassing of what you do. So it's not just business, it's not just healing, it's encompassing all of it. And I'd love to have you on again so we can talk a little bit more about marketing and business and the order and the sequence and stuff, and just helping, empowering women as well, and men, not to think that only the traditional way of business is the way to deal with things. So I'd love to have you on board again, and we can go into this a little bit more in detail.
Love to come.
Awesome. You can find out more about Caroline on carollynecorner.com. That's Caroline with a double L-Y-N-E. You can look in the show notes as well and hook up with her on social media, find out her favorite quote, her favorite book, and she may just have a little bit of a special freebie for you too. Thank you so much for being with us, and I look forward to having you on again.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to the listeners. See you again next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was just supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I enjoyed having you on board, and please do me and you a favor. Head on over to iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher. Click subscribe, and a super bonus, leave your review and you stand a chance of being announced and advertised on the show. I'm always striving to ensure that your brand is uplifted and empowered. Remember, done is better than perfect. So be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and send in your feedback too. You're the absolute best. Keep rocking.